Hello, welcome or welcome back. I'm Tally, and today I have 10 recommendations for books featuring a morally grey character. If you are taking part in the month-long readathon of Realmathon across March, hosted by Covers with Cassidy, these will be great for you to add to your TBR to hit that morally grey character prompt. And without further ado, let's start with the classic The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. If you haven't yet read this is a fantastic, almost dark academia-esque book in which we follow the titular Dorian Gray. Set in Victorian England, we follow Dorian Gray as he moves to London to pursue his thirst for knowledge and to experience the culture. He spirals into a position where his morality is getting darker and darker, and as such his soul is being corrupted. This is written so beautifully, it's practically poetry on the page, and if you haven't read this, I strongly recommend picking it up. The Gentleman Bastard series by Scott Lynch, starting with The Lies of Locke Lamora. This is a fantasy series in which we follow Locke, who is a orphan street urchin child, and he has learnt to get by lying and stealing and conning people out of their money. From there, he gets dragged into an adventure that is going to change the entire course of his life. This is a criminal you can't help rooting for, along with his best friends, who are his found family. Nothing screams morally grey quite like a vampire, and in A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, we get just that. We follow Constanta, who is the first bride of Dracula, following her from her conception into vampire life, all the way through to discovering that her handsome rescuer is not quite the hero she has always thought he is. Dark and brooding, this is set across many eras, and it follows the victim of gaslighting and relationship abuse, and how one can deal with that when death is not an option. Next is Every Character in the Atlas 6 series by Olivia Blake. So this is a fantasy dark academia novel, and we follow 7 different types of magic wielders as they are chosen to apply to become wardens and protectors of the Library of Alexandria. Whilst training for the position, they are expected to push their magic to the boundaries, to the limits, to see what they can do, all while defending it from other magical cults. It is then that these magicians realise there are 6 of them and 5 positions. The Six of Crows duology, made up of Six of Crows and Cricket Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, is a fantastic found family fantasy YA duology. Much like in the vein of The Lies of Locke Lamora, we follow a bunch of criminals who are so incredibly likeable you can't help but root for them. In The Six of Crows, 6 incredibly talented criminals are tasked in carrying out a heist, one that they have to succeed in if they want to continue living. Night Film by Marisha Pessel follows a disgraced investigative journalist who is far too obsessed with secretive filmmaker Cordova. One morning, the body of Cordova's beautiful, elusive daughter Ashley is found dead, and Scott is determined to take down the filmmaker this time. This mixed media book follows Scott as his investigation takes him into an absolute spiral where he's risking his very mind. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern is another fantasy dark academia book. I do have a particular fondness for that genre, but we follow Zachary, who is a student, and one day he finds a book, and it is the book of his life. This leads him into an investigation that is going to change everything for him. He discovers a secret club, is led to a labyrinth of a library that literally sits underground. And when that library is threatened, he must give everything, including potentially his life, to save it, all while trusting a bunch of people who you are not sure if you can trust. Circe by Madeline Miller is a reimagining of the sorceress from the Odyssey. This introspective character study pulls no punches when it comes to the nuances of the human condition and what causes us to make the decisions that we make. Circe is the daughter of gods but holds no power that she is aware of. Turning to the mortal, she discovers that actually she does hold the power of witchcraft. Threatened by her power, Zeus puts her on an island in the middle of nowhere, and Circe must learn how far she will go to protect herself, her sanity, and her home. If you want a book that celebrates women's strength in a man's world, Circe is for you. Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky is the first in the Children of Time series. This sci-fi looks at a very, very far future when the last remnants of the human race leave our dying planet to try and find a new home. Following in the steps of their ancestors from decades before, they discover a world that previous generations had already started terraforming. However, that world does not want to let the humans on it. They've gone down a different path, and at the end of the day, who really has the right to survival on this planet? Children of Time spans thousands of years as we ask that very question. Who has the right to continue their race? And finally, Heartless by Marissa Mayer. This follows the origin of the Queen of Hearts. As a young girl, she just wants to be a baker and enjoy her life. Unfortunately for her, she is considered extremely eligible, and the king has taken quite a liking to her. She then meets Jest, who she falls for entirely with her whole heart, and she must then decide where her future lies and whether or not she will allow her heart to win out or her duty. So those are 10 books that immediately popped to mind when asked to give recommendations for morally grey characters. If you want to join with realmathon, it's not too late. I'll put the link down below. Sign up, come to Team Ravens, and I will see you soon for another video. If you want to say hi, drop a comment and let me know your favourite recommendation featuring a morally grey character. If you want to say hi but don't have a recommendation, drop a heart emoji or a broken heart emoji for Heartless in the comments, and make sure to subscribe so you know when I next upload. Thank you for joining me. Bye friends.